And we are live. Welcome to the I Can't Believe It's Not the ArtCast. I'm Frank. We have a special guest today, Marshall Lee of Donkey Jaw Projects, and my co host, as always, the lovely Anna. And Keith Harper couldn't make it today. He had a lot of things going on, so he's just taking a break just for today, but he'll be back next week. And right now, we're just what we do, we just talk comics, converse. Sometimes we'll have a topic. We have a topic today. So right now we're just gonna just talk a little bit, and then we'll get into our topic. All right. So Marsh, how was your day today?
My day, and thank you for letting me crash your stream here.
Yes.
Um, uh, my day was pretty good. I mean, work was actually slow, which is kind of cool because it doesn't usually do that. And yeah, I got home, had a really cool conversation with another comic book creator for about an hour and a half, a collaborator. And I've just been working on kind of writing and organizing writing. Oh, I started something new today. I always start every day. It's like I start something
A
new
new
every day.
project.
Yep, another
That's why
project.
your Donkey Jaw project.
Exactly. I put the projects in Donkey Jaw projects. So,
That's
um,
right.
that being said, it was. But today my thing was, I've been having a hard time because for 3 years I was working on my comics for at least a half an hour a day every single day, and then I fell off the wagon. A few months ago, and that's because of personal life things that are going on. But it's time to stop the excuses, and
That's
so
right.
I created a little video and I put it in the AAA Discord, and we're gonna start keeping each other accountable at doing the half an hour a day thing. Anybody who wants to join is welcome to join, and yeah, I'm doing it at least. I don't know if anybody's gonna follow me along, but
I want to get in on that.
should.
Do we have to record ourselves or just tell you we're doing
Nope.
it?
All you got to do is say, I worked a half an hour today on this. And then if you don't do it, if to me, I take one, I allow myself one day off a week. I
Mhm.
probably won't use that a lot of times, but I allow it just because I need that grace period. But if I go 2 days, I expect you guys to be like, Marsh, what the heck? You're slipping up. What's going on here?
All
Because we got
right.
to keep each other
All right,
accountable, you know?
cool. True. I'm still doing that, but now it's trickier to be accountable because who I was accountable with, it was Jeff Lafferty and Gibran. So we were doing it every night, and right now they're on a break. But I've still been doing it on my own, and I do more than 30 minutes, but
Yeah.
uh,
So
I try to
so
keep the
from
minimum at 30.
yeah, so that's the
And
thing. I have a lot more time on my hands these days. But that being said, when I try to be like, oh well, I'm going to do 3 hours a day, that doesn't work. I need to still keep it to a half an hour a day because there are some days where it's even hard to do that. So I'm just keeping it to a half an hour, but I will probably work a lot more than that. But yeah, plug right into that, Frank, so that you can have accountability. And if we have a bunch of people, then if some people drop off, you still have people there to help you stay accountable,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I think that could
yeah,
definitely help me with like posting, just keeping up to date with posting up to date messages or whatever on the Discord and
yeah,
online. Because
Totally.
I find it more difficult to post my stuff online and keep people up to date on what I'm working on than to actually work for hours on end in my room.
That's actually a good problem, though.
yeah,
Lately, I wish I was like that. It's actually better to make than to post, but I think both are important.
yeah. And,
It's like a pile of paper that I've been
all right.
working on.
I know. I'm always
So
jealous of your desk because your desk gets to see the papers.
Always has
Oh.
paper.
I don't know.
Mapping
I
out
got paper here somewhere.
pages.
Nice.
Bunch of them.
Yeah, I put some
Oh,
panels on the
speaking
page,
of
but I don't even know what it's gonna be.
this is an old one I had done a couple of years ago. It's supposed to be Elsa.
Nice.
I did it for my daughter. I kept the original and I gave her a retrace.
Oh, she doesn't even get the original?
No, because I had done the neck too big, so I redid it and made the neck a little bit smaller. So I just kept this one.
Gotcha.
And
Cool.
she got the better version.
Did she love it?
If she still has it, I don't know.
Nice.
All right. So Anna, like, what'd you do today? Besides wear a mask.
By sleeping in, it was like 9 o'clock, and then my mom came upstairs and she was like, "You have mail," and then I jumped out of bed and I was like, and so I got to open up a package that Frank sent me, and it had and a bunch of other really cool stuff.
That's awesome.
So it was great, and some fan art from a project that I haven't really published anything on yet, with like animal characters. Really cool.
The word is yet, because she's gonna publish them.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking.
And I also sent her an extra copy of this, because every artist needs to have one.
What do you got? A stack of Marvel Draw books and a stack of 9-volt books sitting over there?
I did. The one I gave to Anna was the last 9-volt book that I have, except for my personal copy. And when we do the second issue, I'll probably buy a couple more. But I don't plan on buying any more. I don't know. I mean, you can just buy them on the website. And I did have a stack of How to Draw Marvel books, and I gave them all away. And I had one. This is my copy, and I gave one to Anna. So
did you get them at Five Below?
Yes, not this one though. This one I ordered on Amazon. I've actually bought this one a couple of times on Amazon because I always end up giving it away. But that's why at Five Below I saw some. I'll just buy those and give those away, and I'll keep this one to myself.
Yeah, I was excited when I saw that at Five Below, and I almost did the same thing and bought a bunch of them, but I didn't. I have like 2 copies anyways, I think, so.
That's cool. All right, so our topic for today is references. Do you use them? Is it cheating? Is it tracing? Is it wrong? Is it okay? That's what we're going to discuss.
All right.
Sounds good.
Marsh, do you want to start it off, Marsh, or do you want me to kick it off?
Sure, why not? Let's see, references. References is a big part of the history of art making. You can't get away from it. And I think the one thing I have that's kind of unique to talk that I usually bring to the table when we have this conversation is the fact that whether or not you feel okay with using reference, you pretty much are a hypocrite because you can't not use reference.
That's right.
It's impossible to not use reference because when you draw from your head, you're drawing from the reference of the memory of the thing that you're drawing in your head. So, you really, it's to say you can't use references is it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me personally.
Yeah.
I agree.
Today I used an actual leaf as a reference, and I drew this.
Nice.
So I made a video. I think it was yesterday. I was responding to a video Scott Serkland had made. Do tools make you lazy? Because someone had made a comment about one of his products, the Hero Design Studio, and they're saying it's cheating. It's Hey, Gib. I don't know why I'm waving. Like, you can wave back. But
he's so rude. He didn't wave back.
Hey, I'm waiting, Gib. And Scott was talking about someone gave him a comment that it was cheating, and I saw the video. Went back, I read the comment, and I left the comment on Scott. But it just kind of stuck with me that someone would think that, and because I do use his templates, I do use his products, I do use references, and that's actually been getting better. So I just made actually I had already made it. I had already made something using one of his tools and someone else's. So I did a quick video, and I was getting a lot of good feedback. A lot of people, saying that it's not wrong, it's not being lazy. Unfortunately, I think people lost the message. I think people thought that I genuinely thought that I was being lazy, uh, uh, but uh, but I did do it while I was at work, while my boss was up on the roof and I was in the truck. So I kind of had to like hurry up, so I didn't edit or anything. So I guess I didn't explain it, but I think the video came out good, and there was like a lot of positive feedback. Gib also gave some feedback. Gib is waving right now.
All right. I was wrong.
But yeah, that's something that I've always thought of that people kind of throw out. I know sometimes there's a little controversy if you trace, you know, what's wrong, what's good, and so maybe we can talk about that. What's good tracing and what's bad tracing.
The way I see it, as you're learning to do art, especially with realism, you're referencing until you can memorize it in your head so that you're referencing from your brain if you don't have a reference in front of you. And then you're sketching that way. With my brain, I don't know. Now I'm curious. Do the rest of you like this? Because I know some people aren't. My mom isn't this way. I've referenced a lot of stuff growing up drawing, but then going as far as to construct things that don't exist, like buildings, a whole lot of creative things that are made up in as three-dimensional blocks and shapes and forms inside my head, and then I think about those and reference those and draw with them rather than having like architecture in front of me that doesn't.
Okay.
So do you have a very vivid ability to imagine visually in your head?
Yes.
And you have the object and you can even like turn it around and stuff in your head?
Yeah, so like right then I was just thinking about a big castle that I had drawn earlier, and it takes me a couple hours if it's something really big that way, but it was this massive scale, giant sort of spider castle thing with legs. It's like a walker. It's for one of the stories I'm writing.
Cool. Nice.
Well, that's like a superpower. Not everybody can do that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. That's why I had to bring it up, because I know my mom is like the opposite, and she can think of things if she's seen them, or memories will bring back images or footage from movies she's watched, but she doesn't come up with original architecture or build up stuff. Like oftentimes I start like a 3D modeling program in my brain, and I start with like a cube or some form, and then I work it out, and it's gray. And then as I think about it harder and harder, I develop it into something more.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the term aphantasia?
Yeah.
So I did a video about that. I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago or something, and it actually got a lot of traction because people don't really talk about it that much. But some people can't even visualize anything really, or even recall any like senses like smells or like touch or whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting kind of thing, especially since people don't talk about it. It's mysterious. For myself, I feel like a lot of it was developed by observing from a really, really young age. Like, I don't think I would have that level of ability in my head these days if I wasn't an observant kid. Every time I got a school report card, it always said that I was observant. I wasn't like really the kid that would talk to other people and all of that, but I would be out there and I'd be thinking about the light falling on a blade of grass, and it's like, that's totally a normal thing for a first grader to do.
You were born to be an artist.
I guess. I have a grandpa that published a children's book. More as a retired project, but it was the Monster Fire Brigade. But he was an artist and he taught art classes, so he was like an influence on me pretty well back growing up. He wants to see me publish some work, so that's one of my motivations for getting into the 9-volt.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah.
I like that.
That's really cool. Like, I've tried to do that, but it's hard. Like, I can sometimes I'll think of something, but I have to draw it out. I can't just like think of it. So I draw it out, and even then, like, I have to go look at a reference or something.
Studying 3D models, if I get stumped on something, like trying to understand the lighting and form of like the leg for the weird, it's hard to explain. I need to print out like a picture of it to show you guys later. But just having like perspective studies in front of me also help, because then you're thinking about what perspective are you starting off as you build up the form.
Yeah, I was looking at that graph the other day because Anna had shown that to me, so I printed it out, and actually have a couple over here. So that's what I've been doing, just studying this, those graphs, and just nature studies, so I can kind of just grab it a little bit better. Let me go get the papers.
It came from my college professor.
Nice. So, on with as far as the topic with using reference, one of the things that we're kind of, I think, getting here is the fact that when you that whole exercise of like kind of visualizing something, yeah, there it is. Is like they teach you in a lot of oh nice, the bone structure and
yeah, I was studying the other day, so this is your clavicle.
Good stuff.
So it's like when you were doing this when you were younger, almost just intuitively, but that's what they will say is draw what you see, and there's a lot of exercises. Drawing on the right side of the brain has these exercises, but they often teach it in art classes too. Doing like blind contour drawings and things like that, where you're focusing not so much on what your pen is actually doing or pencil or whatever, but you're just focusing on what you're seeing. And when you exercise that part, you can draw. That's kind of a good exercise to get better at realism and stuff like that, and just having accurate stuff, because we tend to you can draw a human face, and everybody and their mom can draw a human face. But that's a symbol, and if you start focusing more on what you're actually seeing, you'll realize, okay, there's more to it than a smiley face. And you can obviously, a lot of times we'll try to draw even realistically, but somehow we'll revert back to some of those symbols. And that's how you can kind of gauge whether you're able to really see reference and replicate it, and I don't know, it's just interesting.
I think it's really interesting.
Go ahead.
It brings us stylization and thinking about character design, because really in comics a lot of the time, and with just cartooning in general, we're combining symbols with symbols with sometimes realism, sometimes like general concepts about form, and sometimes we're breaking the rules about realism in order to emphasize a symbolic sort of like cartoony mouths, for example. They'll break the laws of physics sometimes, or they'll break the bone if they were real. you know, to do like a giant mouth, but it's really symbolic.
Totally.
Yeah, like this is a stylized, you know, bodybuilder type of person, you know, like the Hulk or Juggernaut, but you know, it's all symbols. It's all broken down into little structures.
Yeah, there's a lot of form there and stuff. It's interesting you were talking about mixing the kind of like the symbols with other things, and this is kind of a chart that's been used. I know Jake Parker talks about it. Other people have talked about it, but there's you know, it's like these spectrums. You got symbols, then you got like realism at the top, and then expressionism on one side. So like the more you move from symbol to realism, you get a certain effect, but you can mix symbols with expressionism and get a different effect, or expressionism to realism, like somewhere in the middle of all those, and you can, you know, kind of mix all of them in different ranges within that triangle. And that's kind of what style ends up coming from, you know.
Oh yeah. And I think that's something that's really fun to play with. And as we're thinking and talking about references when it comes to drawing characters, I'm totally okay with it, and a lot of people do it, is they'll directly be referencing a realistic photo of something when drawing a character. And I think that's a little bit different than what I plan on doing in the future, because I'm trying to grasp a balance of stylization that it's different proportionally from reality. And so it almost is easier sometimes to get the character design right if I don't reference anything.
Definitely.
Because I just build it up and it's like stylized.
Yeah.
But then you have to memorize the steps, and it's like, oh. Which to model sheets.
Exactly. I was just going to say, but I wanted to let you say it because you were talking about it before.
Yeah. And it's easy to find a model sheet and just draw over top of it and go, okay, now I have a model sheet. But then when you get into the drawing phase of getting into the cartooning and expressions and all of that, your model sheet sometimes is too stiff. At least mine is sometimes. And so then you're back to this question of, do I start from scratch and put the extra time into creating a model sheet that has that looseness and stylization that's apparent in the actual like comic body of work?
Yeah, I think you make it your own once you're able to do that basic one. You know enough that you can break it down and you can do it in your own style. And do you have any model sheets, Anna, that you can show us?
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of working on right now. I have this one. I haven't finished it yet. I wanted to have that cartooniness, but like when I did this one, I feel still that it's a little stiff, and the part of that is the design itself, even though I really liked how the design turned out. But part of
he's an android, right? So I think that works for him.
Is because of the poses. Once I start putting them in more action-oriented moving poses and things like that, I think it'll loosen up the stiffness.
Yeah. And so I've been using these Scott Serkland's Make Your Own Heroes superhero templates. So, you know, these are good if you just want to start off and just practice. And but yeah, when I've been drawing, I think I drew Captain Courage, and he looked totally different from what I wanted him to look like. He looked too, like you're saying, too stiff, too like uniformed, or not uniform, too bland. So that's when you just start adding your own details. So I think just finding the like in between in between place. But that's how you start. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like with the model sheets, like I use Scott Serkland's as well. You know, I have the digital version of that, and I've used
them all.
Yeah, I know you do. And I've used them for characters that I've created, specifically, especially for Big Wrath, the comic I'm working on with Peter Palmiotti. And but you know,
is he famous?
Yeah, he's super famous. More famous than, you know, anybody. So but he but you know, I was working from the Scott Serkland ones, but you know, love them totally, and I still will use them. But like, for instance, you showed that kind of bulky figure that's from Scott. And I have, you know, Thumper is one of the characters in Big Wrath, and he was a little bit too bulky for Thumper. You know, I did try to use it, but it just didn't work. And then the girl sheet was good, and I did design my character from that, but after I had to after I had to redraw her because my girl just happened to be a little bit taller and just a different body type. Just, it is a subtle thing, but I noticed that it looked better when I drew it off of the sheet. But that's really still a good tool to use to get like I feel like when I'm doing that, I'm getting the costume down, you know, more than anything.
Yeah.
Necessarily getting the body type or the personality all in there yet, you know.
Yeah, like this is one that I was just drawing on my own, because usually I'll use a reference, but after using Scott's and just using references for a while, I was able to draw this out of memory.
Nice.
And you know, it actually looked a lot better than some of my other stuff. So like, yeah.
That actually that's
and
like
actually did. And Anna, this was loosely based on your Android character.
Oh,
nice.
So,
have you even seen the parts where I drew him with like part of his face damaged?
no, I wanted to put my own twist, but that's why I was asking you for character designs, because I thought you were gonna send the Android.
Yeah, this is like a few days worth of sketches
okay.
right here. This pile of paper, just a bunch of character drawings and things. I just sit down and draw them with a pencil. What were these? Yeah.
Abe has something to say. Let me just put this up here. Abe says, I can agree with the process Anna said. Get the idea on paper and then try to get that magic moment into solid form. And Adam says, you too. Oh, never mind. I thought it was important, Adam.
Yeah, so yesterday, actually, this entire page right here is yesterday. I did like 4 other pages, but I just sat down and I was fretting, thinking, and I don't have references in front of me. I have a mirror though. There it is. So the little.
Is that why all your characters look like you?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I asked her. If her characters are based on her, because they look like her.
It's like I need to expand a little bit, and part of my cheat so far for some of the other characters is adding different kinds of facial hair. I'm like, I need to make them look different.
I don't actually think your characters look like you, but I just thought it was funny because you said you were using a mirror. But it is funny, like there are certain artists where you can tell they use a mirror because their characters do look like them. Like even Jack Kirby, like a lot of his characters looks like him.
Yeah, and that was something that my
that's what I do. A lot of my characters end up having similar. A lot of my characters are bald because I'm bald.
My one professor really drilled that into the students. She was like, you have to really pay attention to the reference, because we were creating a clay model of a face, because there's this tendency very often for the student to make a clay model that looks like their own face, even though they're looking at the reference model, which is sitting right there, the person. They're creating a clay model, and if they stop looking at the reference model, they start creating something that looks like what they see in the mirror every morning.
Okay.
Nice. Well, I don't know why every time I draw a face, it looks like Scott Serkland. It's weird.
I keep drawing faces sometimes that look like people. There was one I drew not too long ago, was on stream too,
And
wasn't
here's some
it? It looked
some
like
hair designs also from Scott Serkland.
Nice.
Nice.
It's a good cheat sheet.
And also a lot of little accessories. So, so all my videos end up becoming plugs for Scott Serkland. So check his stuff out.
That's
Something
right.
that's really helped with getting facial variation is just understanding the planes of the face, like from a standard form of the face. Because in college we had to memorize the Asaro head and the Riley head from front and side view. I made a song. Yes. You'll probably hear it soon. I don't have it memorized very well, but it's like, Riley head, let's go. The front is what you'll see. These are
so like anime
that you have to know. I guess. I don't know.
It's a song about.
We're gonna clip that and we're gonna save it. We're gonna spread it around.
Oh man.
Nice.
It'll be in my next video.
Because then I start thinking about, well, how big is the glabella or the philtrum or the forehead or.
I don't know what you just said, but sounds cool.
Oh, Marsh, you don't understand anything. The glabella, the Marsh.
I don't know if Jack Kirby knew what that meant either, but he did a few comics.
It was funny when I learned about that in college. I came home and people were like, "Well, what did you learn today?" And I'm like, "Well, we talked about the glabella." They were like, "Wait, what?"
Oh,
like, well, you see, it's a very important part of the anatomy drawings, and just go on, stretch it for a few minutes until they're like, "Okay, what are you talking about?"
Yeah. So, Frank, you were talking about how you drew from that the template, and then you drew it without that, and it looked like you were learning how to do it even better and stuff. And I just got this book in recently.
Cognitive drawing. I was gonna make a reference right there.
And this is basically this is Jason Brubaker's drawing book that just came out, and that's basically the idea is you draw something from reference, and then you take your eyes off the reference and draw it, and then you try to draw it again from reference, and then you take your eyes off it, and after that process is done, you start to actually learn quicker. It's almost like a shortcut to learning how to draw things like anatomy and stuff.
Yeah,
and different styles too.
And that book just came out? I know I saw someone posted in the Discord, but I hadn't heard of it.
It was crowdfunded, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago or something, and he's been working on this for many years. Like I got older PDF versions of it before and stuff, but this is finally the book is finally out, and he's gonna do more. This is the male figure version. He's gonna do female figure, and I don't know what he might do animals or something. I don't know.
I gotta check those out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But the concept, you don't even need the book to do the concept, really. He first started talking about it with just learning different art styles and stuff like that. And, say you take like a drawing from, I said it a million times already, Jack Kirby, and you draw it from the reference, then don't try to draw it without the reference, then you go back and do it again, and you start seeing which parts you didn't catch the first time, and it helps you to memorize the details of it.
Okay.
I definitely do that for my characters too, because I have characters that I've memorized from another story I've been writing since 2015. Ninjas and dinosaurs and other things like that.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Best stuff.
I draw them just so much.
Yeah. And I've been doing with Captain Courage, that's what I've been doing. I've been drawing him so much that I don't even need to look at a reference that I used to have. I just kind of just draw him out, and if it doesn't look right, I'll just fix it up. But usually it's looking better and better. I was I was showing a friend of mine how to use ink wash. I was like, oh, hold on, let me just draw something real quickly. So I just drew Captain Courage in pen, and I was impressed that I didn't make mistakes. It came out. I mean, for me, it came out really good. And I was like, wow, like I'm impressed how good it looks. And he thought I was boasting. Like, well, no, like it does not happen. It didn't happen overnight. It happened years of doing this, of drawing this over and over until each time I'll add something new, or it comes out a little bit better. So
yeah. Yeah, there's always that story of Picasso or something, and there was a lady, and she said something like, "Can you draw something for me?" or whatever, and he's like, "Okay," and in like a minute, he draws something on like a piece of paper, and he hands it to her, and he said, "That'll be $1 million," or something like that, and she's like, what do you mean $1 million? You just took a minute to do it. And he's like, I took a minute to do this drawing, but it took me, my whole life to get to this point where I could draw this drawing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, there's an illustration that a friend of mine, I think they said it in church, where like there's this building, the lights go off, they hire an electrician, he comes in, like, oh, hold on, just presses a button, like, okay, here it is, everything comes back on, and like, all right, that'll be $5,000. Like, $5,000, all you do was just press a button. Yeah, but I know which button to press.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So these skills are worth something.
Abe says he got 2 of the books, one for me, one for him, and one for his daughter. All got 2 copies.
Awesome.
And he was in the beta test group. Hold on, in the beta test group, very clean. If you are nervous about seeing naughty bits, okay. Not on this channel, Abe.
Jason's stuff tends to be clean. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I didn't check to see if there were any naughty bits in this. No, the guy's wearing underwear.
Okay.
No naughty bits that I see so far. If you want to find out how to draw the naughty bits, you can go to other places. Not this book. Not this channel.
Not this book.
So back on form and talking about model sheets and character designing, I'm curious. Do you guys often start when you're drawing ahead with a circle, a sphere, or a cube, or a square, or something else?
Start with I actually been starting to do this a little bit more. I'll start with a line, and I'll do another line, and then I'll do the circle. But usually it's a circle or a sphere, or if I do a circle, I'll do the kind of like the half jaw underneath, because no head looks exactly like a circle. Like you can see, this is not a circle; this is an oval. What do you do, Marsh? What do you use? How do you do it?
I start with the circle, and then I like to draw the vertical line for the crosshair or whatever down, depending on the angle. Sometimes I'll just kind of draw the cross on the circle, like in the 3-dimensional kind of, the other spheres or whatever. But yeah, that is kind of a hack to kind of draw that vertical line, and then you can kind of connect the jaw up to the circle, like halfway through the circle. The ear is kind of halfway, kind of in the center, sort of. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of do that if I'm really trying to do it right. A lot of times I go too fast and don't do it right. So.
Yeah. Sounds like a deviation from Riley head.
Yeah, they're basically
Riley head when I draw heads. It varies with me. It's I think oftentimes if I'm drawing females, I'd start with a circle, and when I'm drawing males, I often start with a square. But I found more recently that drawing a cube to start the head off helps me with establishing perspective if I'm gonna stick the character into like a scene or something. This one was drawn with a cube. I was designing
Oh
a
wow,
hoodie.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it actually is. It does help. I'll do that too sometimes if I'm just trying to work out the form. Like, I kind of do both. Like, I start with the circle and the crosshair type of thing, but then I'll draw the cube to just really make sure I'm getting it right. You know, it's kind of a hack. It's weird because the head doesn't seem like a cube, but it does help.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try that. I'll practice that. And
Yeah,
that's how you draw the Riley head, the 3-dimensional stuff.
Yeah, I can send you some stuff on the Riley head soon. I have like a sketchbook with a ton of studies in it. They made us memorize and spell correctly, like every step of the Riley head. And also for the muscles and bones, they made us memorize and spell them right too. For the final exam.
Yeah.
Man.
I think it's worth it. You know, I don't have the patience sometimes to like memorize stuff like that, but I think it is worth it. The more you have in the memory, you know, the more you don't have to look it up every time, or you know.
Yeah, I gotta review it. I got 100 on each exam. Well, actually, I got every point that was offered in each class, but it's been like all summer.
She got all the grades.
Yeah.
Anna, you are one of a kind. That's
I believe. Probably, you're probably right.
Totally. So, yeah, I don't know.
Mask.
I don't have a mask. You gotta make me a mask.
I'll make you a mask. I'll just like print your face out, and I'm like, okay, Marsh is a mask now. Just
there
like,
you go.
I don't know why, but I just feel like it looks cooler on top of my head.
Yeah.
But
it does look cooler.
Yeah, it looks like a crown.
Is that mask a specific character?
It was more like I made the mask just to play with stuff, and then I made up a character based on the mask. So I was doing things backwards.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, I've done that before. Usually when I was a kid, I'll make something and like this could be a character. This could be something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that red mask, that's a headdress. The other one that you had.
Oh,
I know you had one that's kind of like a box.
It's on top of the blue head, which I made in my sculpture class that I was talking about.
Abe said
this show ends up being the Anna show every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's always getting up and finding new stuff to show us.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, that's
nice. Cool. That's cool.
It's just like duct tape and cardboard and whatever.
Yeah.
The mask not the mask, the head it's clay, but I spray painted it blue one day because I just randomly decided it would look cooler if it was blue. Because that's what I had.
And did you make that head?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
We had a couple weeks to put it together. We'd come to class and then we'd work for like an hour or two on it.
It's an avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hollow. I had to hollow it out. That was that was like a terrifying thing to do because we had to cut it in half after creating it and finishing it, and that's part of why it has this sort of smudgy sort of appearance. It was smooth before, but I had to fix it afterwards, and it was all dry and hard to fix. And I had to sit it on my lap and scoop out with this knife thing, and I kept breaking through it and like stabbed through the eye several times after making the eye while I was trying to hollow this thing out.
You scoop the brains out from the base of the neck.
Yeah, so it's all hollow. And then after we're done, we had to wet it down with like vinegar and water and whatever, and stick it back together hollow, so that it could go in the kiln. And we had to make sure there were no air pockets, otherwise it could explode apart.
It'll explode, yeah. I remember that from art class.
That I didn't really think that making clay models was really going to be my thing. I'll probably do 3D printing instead. But it turned out.
We got a few comments.
Juice.
Yeah, it came out really good.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
We got a few comments. Gibbs says, "No naughty bits. That's all I draw." CB Smallwood says, "Everybody needs to draw faster." CB.
I think he's talking to
Abe.
me.
And Abe says, "I mostly use the egg shape when drawing the head." So Abe uses a model of me, apparently. And Gibbs says, "I draw real fast, Smallwood. They call me Quick Draw. Kick the raw." Okay. I don't know if I'm saying it right. But okay.
I've been told that I draw fast. I probably should believe it, considering how much paper is around and the fact that I finished my final exam drawings and all of that and was helping other students.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about it growing up because I wasn't around a bunch of other people who draw.
Yeah.
So.
That's cool. Well, on the last stream, you drew that portrait, that face portrait in like, what, 3 minutes?
Yeah, I wish that I'd been drawing the whole stream, because I just randomly, I was like, oh, I'm going to draw now while he's talking, just like in that one part of the conversation where he was talking. Like, oh, there it is.
What did you draw?
A face. It kind of looked like a sci-fi-ish Doug to Naples.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, usually we draw on here too, but I left everything's here. I decided just to talk this time.
I have a pencil, but I'm not really. It's just like there's paper on my desk and stuff.
Yeah, I got my pencil,
which is holding up my iPad.
I'm drawing you guys.
Here's something. I haven't thought about it before, but
these papers.
The other day, like 2 days ago, I was looking at this sculpture that I made in my sculpture class. And I was thinking about it because it's not supposed to be anything. It's just this abstract weird thing. But I keep looking at it and thinking about it as different like characters and different kinds of alien creatures that I could turn this into. And so I wonder, that sounds almost like it could be a good exercise, or almost like automatic drawing per se. You could
automatic sculpting.
Yeah, totally.
Things.
Yeah, like I see like an octopus type alien in there. So, and it's a hat.
I used it as a hat in order to get it out of college, and I actually had to tie it to my head though, like a little thing, in order to keep it there. I got a lot of funny looks.
They wouldn't let you take it if it wasn't a hat, or?
Well, it was, my arms were really full. Art student, I have.
Okay.
Thing, and then I had my backpack, and then I had another bag and another bag, and I was like,
okay. Yeah, that sounds like me in school, just a bunch of bags and backpacks and stuff.
Head. I had the head with me too. It was under my arm.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's why it's blue.
Crazy.
That's why it's blue.
Giggling. I'm like, they're just like, oh, I see an art student. Yes. What gives you that idea?
And nobody helped you.
Yeah.
Sounds like the life of an artist.
Yep.
So one thing that's really hard to do, I wonder if you guys have the same difficulty, is trying to draw a face that looks like somebody but is cartoony instead.
Okay.
I can draw out somebody looking like what they look like detailed, but drawing it in a cartoony style is harder for me.
No, I actually have the opposite. It's harder for me to draw like very realistic, but I can draw cartoony, like kind of a caricature.
Yeah.
And that's probably because a lot of the books that I read as a kid were cartooning books and caricature books. One of them was Bruce Blitz.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I
I
remember
found
him.
his book, The Big Book of Cartooning, which was really good, and you can find it pretty cheap because sometimes you can get for $40, but I try to get it cheaper than that. I do recommend it. Some of the stuff he says is a little outdated, just the stuff like how to market, but he condenses a whole lot of different aspects about drawing uh, into that one book. There's even a little section about comics, and there's another section about caricatures and how to make money with advertising. So that's actually I used that the template in that book to make the very first Crimson Samaritan, which back then was Mr. Canada, and which now Grey Canuck is based on that. So I mean, uh, so that came out pretty good. So actually I have the book here somewhere. I'll grab it. Uh,
I think as
yeah.
far as characters, my input on that would be mapping out the person's face first and studying and kind of understanding where their facial features lie so that you
Yeah.
can exaggerate from there without losing sort of their essence.
Yeah, that's something I try to do also. I'll take a picture and I'll overlay it.
Mm-hmm.
Not overlay. I'll opaque it, and I'll do a layer over it, and I'll just try to break down the features. But sometimes I end up using myself as a reference, so it ends up looking like me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think you could open up a whole nother level of discussion on exaggeration and characterizing because choosing what features to change and how much to change
yeah,
them or it's too much, that's like a whole study right there. And it's challenging a little bit for me because I'm really trying to think about it on a technical level and understand everything.
I almost want to I keep thinking of this as an exercise to possibly do, but I want to take yearbook photos or something like that. I think a yearbook is a little bit tough because it's younger people, so their features aren't as defined yet. But they are defined, but it's not quite as defined. But and try
yeah,
to take each face and almost even maybe write down notes on each face as you draw them and say okay, thicker eyebrows, the
just
chin
don't
is
show it to them.
more elongated, or whatever the different things are. Would you?
Yeah,
Just don't tell your friends you're doing that. You have a thick eyebrow and a long face. They will not like it.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Anytime I look back into my old sketchbooks, there's tons of little notes all over the place. It's like the leg is too short, it looks weird. The eyebrow
Yeah.
needs to be even, or the perspective is wonky, or there's just tons of little notes and things
From your art teacher or from yourself?
from me.
Oh, okay.
You're
Yeah, I
very
think I have
cool.
a.
You're very cool to yourself. You know.
Yeah. Well, my
I think
mom
I
uh,
think most artists are though.
has a very big eye for design, even though she doesn't really draw. She did photography, and so anytime she looks at my work or anyone else's work, she immediately comes up with any possible critique, and she tries to do it to benefit me because she wants me to be able to succeed in the arts and get really 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 good. But her idea of really good is photorealism and stuff, and so that's what she's
Yeah.
always comparing it to. And so
Yeah.
it's been a curve trying to get her to appreciate some of the more characterized and cartoony things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I have a problem of drawing arms too short too. So
Yeah, I used to always draw the arms and legs too short, and then
yeah, it
looking
looks
back
like
stuff, it's just
a
really,
midget
like,
courage
ooh, the arms
or
are
a
long.
little courage. Sorry.
Yeah,
All right.
it's definitely tricky, especially when you start, because you go like to these tutorials and they say, okay, say for instance the where the arms end up, they usually like the fingertips should be like in the middle of the thigh generally. Um, but like, how do you measure that when somebody's like got one arm like this with a little foreshortening and the other one's like
Yeah.
this, and like now is where is it compared to the thigh now? Like it's not, that's not so helpful.
We have an exercise for that actually in our class when we were
Yeah.
figure drawing, and we drew.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
And so the idea, he made us, or my professor made us draw so many cylinders, so many,
Yeah.
but had to do them from every single angle, every single perspective. And then he was like, okay, now we're going to cut those cylinders into 3 pieces. And
Mhm.
so that represents like the arm. So you have like the elbow, and then you have like the shoulder or whatever, anything in between there. And you can kind of see how this isn't a very good angle if you're doing a comic. I mean, you can tell symbolically that maybe
Right.
I'm punching something, but it's a little bit better if maybe it's
And you're poking holes in my comic. That's exactly a pose I'm about to draw. It's
that,
just,
or like
I actually have it right here.
that,
Or
where
there,
you
draw
get
too.
implications of the arm. But yeah, the foreshortening can get people, and even in photographs of real people, it's like if I crop this out, it would look really weird because my
Right.
arm distorted because of so much foreshortening.
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes if you draw something exactly how the picture looks, it doesn't look right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's one
see?
of my
There's
problems
the
with
fist.
is it messes up my perspective, because I'll start combining the perspective of a reference into the fantasy perspective that I'm doing on paper. And sometimes I like to break the rules a little bit with perspective. I think once you know the rules, you can start playing around and breaking them to your advantage to get the message across, and it goes into symbolism again. Like I was drawing a character intentionally with a bigger head because they were small on the page and I wanted to get the expression across.
Yeah. I feel like I
Okay, yeah.
remember.
Hold on. Let me just say hi to this guy. Hey, Manuel.
What's up?
All right. He's he used to also watch Jeff Lafferty and Gib. We'll be in the chats together. He's a cool guy.
Sweet.
Now that is also a very talented artist. He does sculptures, paintings, like really good stuff. He can make his own ink.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So this is the book I was telling you about.
Yep.
The Big Book
I
of
remember
Cartooning
that.
by Bruce Blitz.
Oh, cool.
I remember that. I had
There's a section
one
on
person send
caricatures.
things. Nice. See, he's drawing with a square of the face a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I just noticed it. So, if you can get this book, I recommend it.
Yeah. I had one of his books back when I was really very young. And I drew from it. I learned stuff from it. I eventually felt like I was drawing more in his style, though, and I didn't really want to draw in his style, but, still I learned stuff from it.
Oh, for a moment there, I totally forgot what our topic was, but then I remembered when I looked at a paper that I had here with notes. But I was thinking about references again and model sheets, and I was looking at some of the old concept art that I had created at the beginning, because I've been working on this project for like 2 months, even though the outline is completely different from what it is now. Like the story changed from taking place in space and all of that to a totally different setting. But the character designs, what are your thoughts on how characters change over time sometimes in like when you're developing the story, or even if it's like a long form comic book or graphic novel.
So you're saying like when you have a long story, but you can't keep your character consistently looking the same?
Or even if you're trying to improve the art style, you're deviating from the
Okay.
original model sheet, which changes the design, which is kind of interesting.
Well, I feel like the more you draw it, you kind of improve on it, which normally is good, but in a long comic, it means that, you know, it's just not going to look the same. I don't really have a problem with that though, personally. And I don't think most readers who are not artists have any problem with it either, or even notice it. Maybe they do. I don't know. It depends on how different it is too, but I don't know. It's hard to keep the consistency though. And I think probably the best solution is to just draw the crap out of that character before you even start the comic.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I barely have time to draw the comic, so and I probably won't do that personally. You probably will. You probably got like 20 pages already of your characters each.
Well,
She's got more.
I got like a little stack of paper.
Yeah.
Like character drawings. That's the stack I was looking for.
Nice.
It's kind of what I do. Characters.
Nice.
Yeah.
Big stack.
Nice.
Almost.
Yeah, you're really good at doing the character references. I need to do that more.
Like references.
Maybe you can make one of Captain Courage.
Like the model sheets.
Yeah.
Captain Courage.
She would. Yeah, Captain. I mean, not Captain Canuck. That's an actual character. Gray Canuck is my guy. I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, like I had did some fan art for Anna, and I asked her like send me some pictures, like, and she sent me like these really cool, you know, character designs, like different faces, different body poses. So like, well, like I just draw one thing and try to figure it out from there, like so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I might still have it sitting up on that thing. Well, maybe. There we go. This won't have the colored in ones because my printer doesn't print in color. And I didn't print it out, I just sketched it. I have a dragon character for one of my comics, like that. And that and a couple of the other characters. This is another binder with a totally different story in it. Got
cool
animal characters instead.
Oh, Anna, you have a question. CB wants to know what's with the sword behind you. That's a cool fan art.
Okay, let's see. This one right here. This is a letter opener.
Yeah.
And my older brother at his university, which is 6 hours away, he went dumpster diving and found this in the dumpster.
Nice.
Who's crazy enough? Who would be crazy enough to put this in a dumpster? Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah. Very cool, actually. I betcha it was made like homemade or something, because this looks like one of those bread knives that has been dulled.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was custom.
A different sword. It's not directly behind me. This is a tool that I use for weeding and stuff, landscaping.
Yeah.
There, now it's behind me. And now this one is going to be behind me too.
It's the Anna Raub's show and tell hour.
That's how this shows end up. We end up just showing stuff.
Yeah.
And Kiriala says, "Good job, Anna. You are bold with your art. Keep the good work coming."
Thank you. I definitely.
And Jeremy says,
art.
"That sword, that dagger was probably evidence."
Like a year to get to this point, like probably ninja landscape.
Okay,
now you know my identity. It's true though. I mean, who else has these in their top drawer of their dresser?
Oh boy. I think that the audience should have a drinking game that every time that Anna gets up, they take a drink.
I know at first I was like, oh no, I can't get up on this show because I'm live streaming. I need to be in front of the camera. But I'm like, no, I have all these random things.
Yeah. Anna's room is a cornucopia of all kinds of objects.
Like this weird pyramid, which I thought was rather interesting. My neighbor made it, and I painted it. But it goes together one way. But I almost guarantee you, if you hand it to some random person in 2 pieces, it will take them like 20 seconds to figure out how to make a pyramid.
Yeah.
But
nice. It's like a magic trick.
Matches the mask.
Sweet.
Have any of you tried?
I used to have a toy like that. I think it was called a Rubik's snake. That you kind of like twist them out into a stick.
I've seen those, I think. Yeah.
Move them around. House. Oh, well, I'm at it. I know this one's been on.
She saw something else.
That's the other sword. It's the one that matches the mask.
Yeah.
It's based off of a character's sword that I designed for one of my comics. Stay tuned.
All right, so we've reached an hour. We actually went a little bit over an hour. So we try to do at least an hour on this show. So we just go around saying who we are and where we can find your stuff. Marsh, since you're the guest, who are you? Where can we find your stuff?
I am currently not getting thrown stars at me. And I am Marshall Lee of Donkey Jaw Projects. I can't, yeah. And I make comics and have a YouTube channel. And thanks for having me on, bud.
Thanks for coming.
No problem.
It was great having you.
No, thanks, Anna, for inviting you. Or did you invite yourself? Because I wasn't there for the whole conversation.
I invited myself, and then Anna said, yes, please, because I need help because I don't want to talk so much.
Yeah, this is the most I've talked on stream, I think. I tend to be a pretty quiet person. And so I didn't know if I'd be able to carry on a conversation. It's like
I think you're doing good.
Very long time.
All right, no so what about you, Anna?
Like where I can
Who are you?
Who am I? I am Anna. Let's see. Like where I can be found, just I'm an art person.
Your stuff.
Oh, yes, I have a YouTube, which is just my name right now. It's Anna Raub. And then what he has on the banner right now, Anna Raub Arts, that's my Instagram, which I should probably update soon. I'm going to be updating stuff on YouTube. I've got some sneak peeks into the project I've been working on for the AAA 9-volt anthology.
Nice.
So, cool stuff. The story is going to be End-Star Arrival, and it's a bit of a mixture of fantasy and sci-fi and overgrown buildings that are broken down and an android. A big battle.
Okay. Oh, and Gib is asking, where's Keith Harper? Keith had to just take a little break. He was very tired. So it was just gonna be me and Anna, and Marsh jumped in at the last minute, so we have a trio again.
I'm Keith.
And
I'm wearing a Marshall mask.
That's it. You had a mask all along.
Just like Scooby Doo.
right, and I'm Frank. This is my channel, so if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Give this video a like and go back and comment it and just tell us what you think. And you can find all my stuff on my link tree there. It's right there on the screen, Linktree Salazar Art Nation. And I also have a coffee account in the description. So if you just want to drop me a few dollars, go ahead.
Thank you.
And thank you, Marsh, for coming on. And
Thanks.
next week we have a special guest, so I encourage everyone to tune in. It's someone I'm actually very proud to introduce into this podcast. Is a local artist here. He's a young artist. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it as a surprise, and we'll catch you next time.
Exciting.
Bye.
Bye.